morning, students. In the last few sessions, we have learned about the brief introduction of all life processes and in detailed life process, nutrition and respiration. Now let us learn the third life process, transportation. What is transportation? It is not any vehicular transportation in which all persons will be moving from one place to other place in vehicles. It is the transportation of various substances that are required for various biochemical activities inside the living organisms. So inside our living organisms, there are many substances that are getting transported from one place to other place in order the biochemical processes to be carried out. For example, the final digested end products are carried from the small intestines to all the cells of the body. The oxygen that is brought into the lungs by inhalation is carried to all the cells of the body in order the cellular respiration to be carried out. The nitrogenous waste materials that are formed as byproducts during cellular metabolism have to be removed and discarded out. So they are carried from all the cells to the excretory system. So carrying of all these materials from one place to other place in the human body is called transportation. This transportation is carried out by a special liquid tissue called blood. Blood is the liquid connective tissue. In class 9th, we have learned that every connective tissue will have a matrix, fibers and suspended cells in it. Since blood is the liquid connective tissue, blood has got fluid matrix in which many types of blood cells are present. So, how the blood carries various substances from one place to other place? If you take the two components of the blood, that is the plasma and blood cells. Plasma carries certain materials and blood carries certain other materials. What are they? Plasma carries the final digested end products, carbon dioxide and nitrogenous metabolic wastes. The final digested end products, carbon dioxide and nitrogenous metabolic waste materials can get dissolved in blood plasma and thus are carried from one place to other place. Whereas oxygen has got poor solubility in any liquid, especially in water. So, oxygen is not transported by being dissolved in blood plasma. For the transport of oxygen, red blood cells play the key role because the red blood cells contain a special iron containing pigment called hemoglobin. This hemoglobin has high affinity towards oxygen. So, the oxygen is carried or transported across all parts of the body through the blood by being bound to hemoglobin. Oxygen is transported by being bound to hemoglobin. This is how different substances are carried from one place to other place through the blood. But how this blood will move? If blood has to carry all these substances, blood has to move. But how this blood will move? So blood should get a push so that the blood can move. So blood must get pumped out from some particular place so that the blood can move. So in the transportation of human beings, there are three components. That is a pumping organ, a network of tubes and a system to repair. In the system of transportation of human beings, there are three components. A pumping organ, a network of tubes a system to repair. Pumping organ. It is heart in our body. Heart pumps the blood out so that the blood can reach to all parts of our body. After being pumped out, where the blood should flow? We all know that in water transportation, after being pumped out from large water tanks, water will move to all homes through pipes. So a network of pipes, plastic pipes is there in our civilization. In the same way, after being pumped out, the blood is transported across all parts of the body through a network of tubes. These tubes comprises of arteries and veins. Arteries basically they carry the oxygen rich blood, veins carry the CO2 rich blood. Next, a system to repair. Every system may tend to get damages during certain disturbances. We all know that whenever we are cutting the vegetables or whenever we are playing in the ground, sometimes certain mishaps takes place so that we will get injuries. During that injuries, we start to bleed. But the bleeding will not continue forever. It will get stopped. The bleeding will get stopped after some time. Because how the bleeding is taking place actually, as the blood vessels get cut, the bleeding is taking place. This bleeding is stopped because that leakage is sealed. So a system to repair these leakages is always present in our body. So thus these three components play the crucial role in the transportation in human body. Let us learn about the structure of our pumping organ. Okay. Our pumping organ is heart. Human beings belong to the class Mammalia of subphylum Vertebrata of phylum Chordata. As we already have learned in class 9, the animals that belong to class Mammalia have 4-chambered heart. So humans also have 4-chambered heart. What are these 4 chambers and what is their significance? These 4 chambers are arranged like top 2 and bottom 2. The top 2 chambers are called atria, singular atrium. They are also called auricles, and the bottom 2 chambers are called ventricles. The bottom 2 chambers are called ventricles. So, what is the role of atria and what is the role of ventricles? Let us learn. Atria basically they receive the blood. Atria basically they receive the blood, and ventricles basically they pump out the blood. They pump out the blood. So the top 2 chambers are to receive the blood from body parts, and the bottom 2 chambers, that is ventricles, are to pump out the blood to all body parts. Now, so what are the differences between the left and right chambers? So if you take the top 2 atria, they are of 2. One is the left atrium, another one is the right atrium. Another one is the right atrium. So these 2 atria are completely separated by a separating wall called interatrial septum. The 2 atria are completely separated by a separating wall called interatrial septum. The left atrium receives the oxygen-rich blood. The left atrium receives the oxygen-rich blood through pulmonary veins. The left atrium receives the oxygen-rich blood through pulmonary veins from lungs. And the right atrium receives the CO2 rich blood or carbon dioxide rich blood through upper and lower vena cava. Upper and lower vena cava. So the left atrium is receiving oxygen-rich blood through what? Pulmonary veins. From where? From lungs. And right atrium is receiving what? CO2-rich blood. Through what? Through upper and lower vena cava. From where? From all body parts. From all body parts. And do these oxygen-rich blood and CO2-rich blood get mixed up with each other? No. Why? Because there is a separating wall between the left and right atria. Between the left and right atria. So the blood do not get mixed up. The blood do not get mixed up. So oxygen-rich blood and CO2-rich blood can never get mixed up in the heart, at the atria or at the ventricles, because they are separated by separating walls. Okay. After receiving the oxygen-rich blood from the left atrium, the blood is pushed down to left ventricle. After receiving the oxygen-rich blood by the left atrium, the blood is pushed down to left ventricle. And after being received, okay, the CO2-rich blood is pushed down. It is just pushed down to right ventricle. So CO2-rich blood is received by the right atrium, and from right atrium the CO2-rich blood is pushed down to right ventricle. Okay. Now from the left ventricle, the oxygen-rich blood is pumped out. It is pumped out through aorta to all parts of the body. From the left ventricle, the oxygen-rich blood is not pushed out. It is pumped out. It is pumped out through aorta to all parts of the body. In the same way, from the right ventricle, the carbon dioxide-rich blood is pumped out. It is pumped out through pulmonary arteries. Through pulmonary arteries to the lungs. To the lungs. Why to the lungs? Because it is CO2-rich blood. This CO2-rich blood should go to lungs. There, the CO2 will be given to lungs and O2 will be taken. Okay, so only the CO2-rich blood is pumped out to lungs. Okay, now at ventricles, do this CO2-rich blood in the right ventricle and O2-rich blood in the left ventricle, do they get mixed up? No, because even the ventricles also are completely separated by interventricular septum. Interventricular septum. Coming to the walls of the chambers of the heart. The atrial walls are generally thin in nature, thin in structure. Why? Because the atria do not require to pump out the blood, because where they are just sending the blood, they are just sending the blood to their immediate next chamber, that is ventricles. So they don't require much strength. So the atrial walls are generally thin in structure, whereas the ventricular walls, the diagram itself you can see, the ventricular walls are very thick in structure, because they do not require only to just push the blood. They require to pump out the blood so that the blood reach all parts of the body. So they must exert a sufficient amount of pressure. So in order to exert the sufficient amount of pressure, the ventricular walls must be thick enough. So only comparatively, the walls of the ventricles are thicker than the walls of the atria. Our atrial walls are thinner and ventricular walls are thicker. This is the structure of the heart, okay, using which the blood is pumped out. How the blood is being pumped out, how it is received, all the things let us learn in the next session. Thank you.